I'm Robert Rogers, founder of Parkinson's Recovery. I'd like to tell you about a secret your mother, I am guessing, never told you about. A secret that I learned from Lisa Strubing, the founder of Mud Puddle Fitness. An idea that's one of the best that I've heard in the last several years. Now, is this idea for you? Well, let me ask you just a couple of questions. Do you have difficulty sometimes with, for example, opening up a door? Do you have problems in moving from one room to the next? Do you sometimes literally get stuck? Do you have difficulty with eating and taking a fork and putting the food on the fork and then getting it up to your mouth? Well, I've got a wonderful idea that I want to suggest you seriously consider. The challenge, I think, is basically that you are stuck in a channel that is not working for you. So the answer is to simply switch to another channel. It's a bit like years ago when cable TV did not exist. Everyone had to tune in to a channel with their regular TVs, and oftentimes there was fuzzy or static and you couldn't really see the screen. So you had to basically change to the next channel in order for the picture and the sound to come in clearly. Well, that's really the gist of this idea. The idea that I'm about to propose to you that comes from Lisa is to move back in space and time into memories of activities that you are familiar with and that you loved to do. In other words, access memories where movement was effortless. So from the Walk with Ease membership website, let me play you a little clip here from Lisa where she discusses this idea quite lucidly.
This is really the crux of the most interesting part of what I do. If moving forward with your normal walk has become a shuffle, that's okay, because there's a lot of things that you've done in the past that work just fine. You may have been a dancer, you may have trained in football and used agility ladders to train. You may be a cross-country skier. If you can use your memory to access a different motion that's just similar, for example, a cross-country skier, as you swoosh forward with one foot and swoosh forward with the other, if you imagine that instead of walking, you may discover that you have a much smoother pattern of movement.
Why does cueing work? Can you really use your mind and your memories to overcome the symptoms associated with the diagnosis of Parkinson's?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. The life that you've lived is so rich. So I know this is radio, but if listeners will think about putting one hand out in front of them and using their imagination to turn a doorknob. Now that same motion, as you turn that doorknob, that same motion, now turn it into flipping a pancake with a spatula. Now turn that same motion into turning the page of a book, or turning the key in an ignition, or pulling a weed, gently pulling a weed. All of those memories, all of that motion, the body is doing technically the same thing, but the memory of it is stored side by side by side by side. So if in the neurologist's office you're asked to swirl your wrist and that's not working, you might find that you can flip a pancake over and over and over again, or you might be able to turn the ignition in the car and use that memory. And if that memory becomes your default, you have that motion. And should that one get broken, there's all of those other things that might be able to substitute in, and that's how we use cueing and memory.
Lisa Strubing was one of the amazing presenters at the Jumpstart to Recovery program at Alderbrook this year. Her website is mudpuddlefitness.com. For information about the Walk with Ease and Confidence membership website, visit parkinsonsdisease.me. Thanks for joining me, Robert Rogers, founder of Parkinson's Recovery.